poppin', y'all? It is your boy Guard3, and welcome to Coffee and Sports, the morning show. And look, I didn't get much sleep at last night after such an exciting Thursday night football game. How could you sleep after that one? So why don't I introduce you to the greatest co-host of all time? He is Mo Betta. How you doing, Mo?
You know what? I'm well rested after watching that snore fest that put me out cold. Before the third quarter, I was knocked out cold. And guess what? The score didn't change. It was terrible. Excited to talk hoops. We got a big Friday night full of NBA games, so let's get into it.
Yeah, like I said, you know it's bad when I go on Twitter and the only highlight reel I could find from last night's game is the highlight reel of AJ Cole, the punter of the Raiders. Which, look, he had a fantastic game. 2 punts at the 1 yard line. Whoo! He was on one. At least somebody showed up to play last night because the rest of the game was pretty terrible. So, shout out to AJ Cole, man. Thanks for carrying that game last night. So, of course, I figure we just start with talking about the other game, Mo. There's only one NBA game last night. Suns, Clippers. No James Harden, no Kawhi Leonard. Suns took care of the Clippers rather easily. Mo, what were your thoughts about last night's game?
The results weren't that surprising to me, obviously, with the Clippers missing their 2 best players. But I was really more interested to see what Jalen Green would look like in a Suns uniform in that system, playing alongside Devin Booker. And look, as season debuts go, he looked terrific last night. He got downhill a lot. His mid range was falling. He clearly looked like the quickest player on the floor. It was a great debut, and maybe the best thing for a guy like Jalen Green is to be able to play off a proven all NBA player like Devin Booker. It might be just exactly what the doctor ordered for Jalen Green.
Yeah, absolutely. I hated watching the Clippers yesterday. That they just did not look like they were ever into that game. And like my problem with watching the Clippers yesterday is there's just way too much ball watching, man. Like I'm watching them, and they're like completely like I watched 5 guys watching Colin Gillespie dribble and leave Grayson Allen wide open for a check the win 3-pointer. I'm watching bad double teams on Grayson Allen in the middle of the court where there's no double team angle just to leave Royce O'Neal open for a 3. That was just one of those games where it looked like that the Clippers were, even though that their best players were out, it just seemed like they were never really into it.
No, I would agree with that. It was a lackluster performance, but this Clippers team has been Jekyll and Hyde. I know we're early into the season, but they've been kind of like a roller coaster ride. It is one of the older rosters in the NBA, if not the oldest roster in the NBA. So the different rotations and combinations they put out there, it's going to vary because you're going to always have a couple of guys in street clothes. When your core is 35 and older, you can book on that. I don't know the direction of this Clippers team. And more importantly, I've seen them play 4 or 5 of their games. I still don't know their identity. The only thing I know about them for sure is they don't run. And that makes sense, obviously, because they're an older, slower team. But their half-court execution is just a series of ISO ball. Left ISO ball in the corner, ISO ball from the top of the key. They don't really run a system.
And look, let's just hope that come late in the season or playoff time that Kawhi and James Harden don't have to miss any time because first option Bradley Beal, man, that was not good.
That's kind of, has anybody's star fallen quicker than Bradley Beal's? Like it's just been so gradual and so consistent. Like I thought for sure when he went to Phoenix, I thought, look, at a minimum, it's the perfect spot for him because I can see him being an effective third option. really. And it really never panned out. And now you have him with the Clippers, and they're wanting him to kind of fill that void there in that same role. And he hasn't looked very good to this point. I'm looking at Bradley Beal and I'm thinking if I'm the Clippers, if I'm Ty Lue, maybe you make him more of a six man. He just doesn't seem, how can I say it, as interested in he seems disjointed. Like he's healthy, but he moves and plays like he's not healthy. It's a disappointing end to what started off as a really promising career. I hope Bradley Beal can pick it up because he's still relatively young. Like on that Clippers team, he's actually one of the younger guys. I think Bradley Beal's like 31. That makes him a kid on that roster.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He started. It feels like he started out the year fine. It's pretty clear that you can't do first option Bradley Beal hoops anymore, and I'm not even sure second option Bradley Beal hoops is the way to go.
Right.
You just got to go either third option at this point or first option against bench units. So overall, hoping he turns it around or at least has a better showing than last night.
Yeah, look, I think I like the third option. I like him maybe running the second unit and attacking other teams' second unit. I think Bradley Beal, if he would embrace it at this stage of his career, could be a really good six man.
We got a good slate of games tonight, and tonight is the start of the NBA Cup. So I figure why not throw out some predictions for tonight, since it is the first day of the NBA Cup. It's great. I'm cool with the look. I've always been a decent fan of the NBA Cup. Nice little twist on the regular season. So, got my the Bucks opening matchup against the Bulls tonight, which before the year started, you'd probably be like, oh well, Bucks win that easily. But hey, the Bulls are playing really motivated basketball right now, so this game could really go either way.
They're a good team. I know it's early into the season, but the Bulls do have an identity. They have a style. They play with pace, they play fast, and they make it a point to make everybody on the floor a scoring threat. And I want to say this again because I've been saying it since I've been watching. This is not Oklahoma City Josh Giddey. This version of Josh Giddey is a lot more aggressive. He's doing something that he hadn't done in his career consistently. Josh Giddey gets to the foul line 6 times a game. He also takes 17 shots a game, which he's never done in his career. Like Josh Giddey is he is still a great facilitator, but the fact that he's playing so aggressive and he's shooting the three ball with efficiency, like I said, this is a completely different Josh Giddey. This Josh Giddey, I'm not going to go crazy and say he's a franchise player, but this version of Josh Giddey is an all-star caliber player easily. It would not shock me if Josh Giddey, if he's going to carry this through, if this is sustainable, he's absolutely going to be an all-star, maybe even all-NBA. Like their style of playing this fast, it completely fits his skill set. He is exactly in the element he needs to be in.
Oh, yeah, they're playing up tempo, they're playing quick, and they're coming off a very impressive come from behind victory against Philly. Josh Giddey and Montas Buzelis has been a great, duo for him. Vooch giving some Vooch's been playing well early on in the season, playing a great role as a stretch five. So do you think the Bucks can take care of them, or do you think that the Bulls come out with another one?
I think it's a really good basketball game. I know what to expect from Giannis. With the Bucks, you're wondering what version of the young man. Is it Rollins?
Yeah.
When Rollins is playing with pace and under control, he makes the offense that much better. And when he's not playing with pace, and he's careless with the ball, the offense stalls out. So look, if Rollins plays up to what he has played up to start the season out, I think the Bucks find a way to win a really good game. But if it's all going to be on Giannis's shoulders, absence of what Rollins or Kuzma or somebody in the supporting cast does, it's going to be hard for the Bucks to win because The Bulls have 6 guys that average in double figures. They're that balanced a team. So the Bucks are gonna need other guys to contribute around Giannis.
Say, one action that the Bucks have been running that I really like is the Bucks have been running a lot of inverted pick and rolls with Giannis as the ball handler and AJ Green as the screener, popping out to the 3-point line, which has been working well. And they've even added a twist. They'll have Miles Turner come set the screen, and then AJ Green will come back screen Miles Turner's man, and then pop out to the 3-point line. Also known as Spain pick and roll, using AJ Green's 3-point shooting threat to get some easy looks at the rim. So I'll give some credit here. They've been dialing up some pretty creative plays. So I'd say I love what I've seen from the Bucks. I think we take this one. Hopefully the whistle's better for the Milwaukee though. Man, we've had such a rough whistle to start the year. Say I'm watching us like it completely lose the free throw battle like every game, and I'm like, wait, this normally never happens. Say we're normally just a very aggressive team attacking the rim. Like, how in the world? Like that game against Sacramento when they had like 40 free throws was egregious. I was like, come on now.
I will say this about your Bucks. You should always be in the top 5 in free throw attempts per game just because of Giannis. He's gonna get 12 a game, and it also means that he gets the other team in the penalty, which means that his teammates with minimal contact should get to the foul line because the other team's going to be in the penalty. So, yeah, I thought, especially against a team like the Kings, who they're not just perimeter oriented. Outside of DeMar DeRozan, they don't really attack the basket. They settle for jump shots. So it's weird to see a jump shooting team shoot that many free throws.
Yeah, no, that game drove me insane. I was getting so mad at that game. I say I'm normally not a guy to just sit there and blame the refs, and obviously we lost that game more. That there are more reasons we lost that game than the refs. But I'm like, come on, this whistle is just absolutely egregious one way. So, say we got another NBA Cup game. Well, every game's an NBA Cup game. Jazz Timberwolves. Feels like the Jazz should just lose this one rather easily, right? Shouldn't be the Timberwolves all the way.
It should be, but you know what? The Timberwolves aren't playing great basketball right now, so I'll say that it's a trap game. I expect them to win, but I can see where this could be a trap game.
Say no, absolutely. Say Julius Randle's been great for the Timberwolves to start out the year. Shout out him. He's been playing he's been one of the most efficient ISO scorers in the league, giving him a great baseline while Anthony Edwards recovers from a hamstring.
He's played well, but when you watch the Timberwolves play, the first thing you say to yourself when you watch them play is they've got one shot creator, one guy that can consistently create shot. They just don't have enough shot creation on the floor. And they didn't add any. You could make a case they actually lost. Like Alexander Walker was one of the few guys coming off their bench that could get his own shot, and they lost him. I don't see how Minnesota goes deep into the playoffs this particular season with the current roster construction because, yes, Julius Randle is effective as an ISO scorer. He's not nearly as effective in terms of being a facilitator. Their offense stalls out when Anthony Edwards isn't on the floor because no one else can create for anybody else. Like, it's a struggle, and it's ugly to watch them play basketball because Jaden McDaniels is averaging a career high, but Naz Reid is having a terrible season up to this point. And Mike Conley, I thought he looked like a shell of himself last year. Now he's just a shell of a shell. I think if anybody needs to make a move to bring in I don't care who it is, a point guard, a wing, or whatever, another facilitator, it's the Timberwolves. And when I hear all these rumors about John Morant, I don't know what the Timberwolves have in terms of assets or picks, but in their situation, you should go all out. I've said this before, and I'll stand by it. If I could think of a perfect landing place for John Morant, it would be able to play alongside a dynamic wing who's an attacker like him, because I think John Morant would feed off of playing with a player like that.
I think one of the things that the Timberwolves might need to try sooner rather than later is I know they want to bring their young rookie that they drafted, Beringer, along slowly, but they might have to play him sooner rather than later. Look, Naz Reid is a great offensive talent. He was last year at the price point he was last year, but Naz Reid on a $25 million contract all of a sudden when he's not on a bargain deal doesn't almost look like the same player all of a sudden, right? So the Naz Reid Julius Randle duo, when those two share the court together, as at the 4 and 5, defensive rating of 143. It hasn't been good. So they might end up having to either go get more size and Beringer just isn't ready, or I don't know. It just feels. All I know is they can't really just keep running this duo out there because it wasn't a good defensive duo last year, and now anytime Rudy steps off the court, their defense is just hemorrhaging points.
Look, I think defensively they need a better point of attack defender. Yes, you definitely can point at the Randle Reid combo not being able to hold their own in the paint, but I would also throw in they don't have a great point of attack defender to start off, and that's a problem for them. And I do think like they've got every team has holes, but Minnesota they lack shot creation and they don't have a lot of shooting. Like this particular season, Dante DiVincenzo, early in the season, he's shooting the ball well, but he's a streaky shooter. What I worry about when you look at the Timberwolves is late in the season, are they going to have enough shot not just shot creation but shot makers on that roster because they don't have a lot of them. I can understand wanting to maintain the standard that they've held the last 3 seasons as one of the better defensive teams, but I think that you could sacrifice a little defense for better offense.
Yeah, so absolutely. It's like I said, I definitely agree they need more shooting, shot creation, and if they could add some extra defense, especially for when Rudy's off the floor, that would help them a ton. Because I don't think those two will be this bad all year, but I can't imagine it'll get that much better when Rudy's off the floor. So they got to find a way to survive those minutes a lot better. Cavs Wizards should be an easy Cavs victory, but early NBA season games are just weird, so watch this end up being a dogfight.
Yeah, look, I think the Cavs should win. It's funny, whenever I watch the Wizards, I'm not looking at them to win. I'm looking to see the improvement or any kind of signs of development in their young core. And you watch a guy like Alex Sarr, and there are games where Alex Sarr, you look at him and you go, that's why he was drafted where he's drafted. I get it. And then he'll turn around the very next game and you go, why would they ever draft somebody like that high? The most consistent thing about Sarr so far is that he's inconsistent. They have talent. They just don't have an identity and they lack consistency. And I get that when you do with a young team. And I thought the whole point of having a CJ McCollum and obviously a Chris Middleton was you got vets who could talk to the rookies, who can get in their heads, and that would help. But so far, it really hasn't reaped benefits yet. So I don't watch the Wizards for wins or losses. I'm just looking for development and improvement in their young core. And it's been a grind. But again, they have talent. It's just a matter of being patient. If you're that fan base, you're going to have to be patient.
Hey, you know what? We know what they're playing for. They're playing for that top spot in the draft to see if they can get that superstar to pull it all together. A lot of great talent at the top end of this draft. And you got the son of Carlos Boozer, Cameron Boozer, been a walking double-double.
He's nice.
AJ Diabasta, just an absolutely dynamic player. Maybe the most interesting guy to me, Darren Peterson. He's the projected, number 1 pick so far, and he's been impressive. And you know what's funny? A lot of people have really high praise for him. Did you see the player comparisons that young man is getting, Mo?
Who are they comping him to?
Some people are calling him Kobe with a little less bounce.
That's still high praise. That's a lot. That's very high praise.
And it was funny the first game watching him because they played Green Bay, and I'm like, Kobe with a little less bounce is pretty crazy. And then the first play, he just effortlessly and smoothly takes a really random, like, contested midi, but it looks so smooth and it went in. I'm like, oh, you know what? Maybe they're right. But yeah, no, I'm going to keep an eye on him and, just try to keep an eye on this entire draft class. But it's shaping up like this could be a very special draft, in the upcoming 2026 years. So, like, watching these top prospects, I'm like, yeah, I can see why these teams are tanking.
I think some of these teams are tanking, and some of them they're just honestly that bad.
Oh yeah, I don't think a team like Utah is intentionally trying to tank.
They are not. They are not trying.
Say Wizards fans should be experts in patience. Fair enough, Kyle. Fair enough.
That's true. That is true.
Say, hey, they got their glory years. They can remember their playoff appearances during the John Wall days.
Oh wow.
Say that Paul Pierce buzzer beater. Well, almost that Paul Pierce buzzer beater was so good for them though. I'll admit I was so hyped when he hit that. Take you back to the 2016 Wizards.
I love Paul Pierce. He is by far the most confident dude. One of the most confident dudes that ever played the NBA. Like, I love how when he reminisces, somehow he gets better as time passes.
See that's why one of my favorite players to listen to is Jeff Teague, man. I just like how honest he is. He's just like, yeah, I was pretty bad, but here's what happened.
Jeff, maybe that's why his podcast is so popular. Jeff Teague I thought Jeff Teague was a good player, a really good player. But he didn't have a Hall of Fame career enough, but he was a really good player. But he speaks truth to when he was bad and wasn't very good. I think that makes people like him because he's just being his true self. Like a lot of guys, when they have podcasts or whatever, they try to hold themselves up into a different light, and that's not really Jeff Teague's way. I don't know how much you play NBA 2K, but I do know that Jeff Teague is a avid player of NBA 2K. So is Gilbert Arenas. And I had watched the recent episode of Jeff Teague's podcast, and apparently Jeff Teague's team beat Gilbert's team by 50 points. And and Gilbert was the one trying to be petty about it, and Jeff Teague was like, "Gil, you lost by 50. Come on, man. Like, yo, that's crazy to me." Like, I used to play 2K all the time. I don't anymore. I still play it. I just don't play it all the time. But man, the 2K community, and we're getting off track a little bit, but the 2K community has grown so much.
Say, hey, as an avid 2K player, no, absolutely it has. So yeah, and you know what? I enjoy it. It's been a lot of fun to play this year. I just finished making my center build for the rec. It's been great. It's been great. I enjoy it.
So are the 2K streets, Brett, are those the ones that keep you up into the wee hours?
Partially between 2K and working on different various projects.
I got you.
Yeah, Paul Pierce is better than LeBron, Kobe, and Wemby all together in his mind. You're right.
That's facts. That is 100% facts in his mind. That is facts.
No, absolutely. By the way, did you see the one college game, Mo? It was the women's college basketball with Bethesda, the coaches, Jamie Newman, son of Julian Newman. The game started out, and I don't even know, like, the game started out on a 72-0 scoring run. Bethesda was getting blown out.
Wow.
And my first thought was I saw the score 72-0 in like middle of the third quarter. And I'm just like, Mo, what do you even say there? Like, Like, what do you even tell the team? Because it's not like you can go, okay, guys, we got this. It's like, just pack it up. Let's go home.
That is 72-0 in the third quarter. I don't even know what you do in the timeout. You're like, that's one of those things in this timeout. You're like, you're asking the players like suggestions, ideas, like guys, we're not trying to win. We're actually trying to get one basket. I just need one basket to show we got some pride.
Yeah, Newman goes, yeah, the whole team had the flu, and I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. At the same time, like you couldn't score one basket before they got to 72.
Right.
The final score was 103-13. By the way, they got hot in the fourth. They dropped 10.
I'm sorry. You can't at least go to the basket, draw a foul, flop, do something. Pick a fight. Get some technical fouls. Do something.
Yeah, no, at that point, I think at like 50-0, I'm just getting tossed. I don't care if there's only like 5. If we're the only 5 players available, I'm hard fouling somebody at that point.
If I'm the coach, I'm getting tossed. I'm all up in the ref's face. I get tossed, and I'm turning to the assistant coach. This is all you.
Say no, fair enough. That was just one of the more wild things I think I'd ever seen. Because
I don't know. Look, Brett, I'm gonna keep it 100. If you get beat that bad, this is weird to say, but I might go to my AG and go, "Hey, look, we need to stop the program like right now." You know what I mean? We're not going to play the rest of the games. We need to literally have an immediate shutdown of this program.
No, absolutely. Just like when I first heard it, I thought they said 17-0 run. I'm like, oh, opening up the game 17-0. You know that happens, and they showed a picture of the scoreboard. I'm like, does that say 72? I'm like, oh no.
Wow.
The spread was negative 72.5 at the half. Oh, good grief.
History.
Yeah, say, well, better luck next game. Say, I say that was a fun clip to say. That was interesting to watch. Say Jeff Teague and company covered that one too. Like I said, just a great group of guys to watch. If you haven't watched Club 520 with Jeff Teague, him, Iman Shumpert, and like Kevin Garnett are like three of my favorite NBA storytellers of all time. But Club 520 is for sure my favorite. Definitely has to be one of my favorite basketball podcasts to watch.
Shout out to Club 520. It's a great show. Look, and I think Kevin Garnett is the GOAT when it comes to storytelling.
Say somebody take a hard foul. Yep.
That's what I'm saying.
Say no, absolutely. The story of him talking about Tim Duncan and Hakeem Olajuwon talking trash is still to me one of the funniest things ever. Tim Duncan's Hakeem impersonation was so good. So he went so far into it. So Mo, I wanna do something that we were gonna do last. We're gonna do a little something that I had planned for. Because there's a lot of talk. The Mavs suck. Yeah.
This is true.
I don't know how they do it because they are just so uniquely bad. Like, they're just a bad offense. You know what? Fair enough. You don't have Kyrie Irving. Anthony Davis looks like he has cinder blocks on his feet. Like, there's not much you can do with that. But I'm watching this team, like, be actively bad, like, rebounders, too. I'm like, okay, you got AD, Gafford, Lively. You have a power forward or small forward playing point guard right now, and you still can't get rebounds. Like, they are somehow just very impressive form of bad. Like, if you looked at some of their numbers, you're like, oh, this is like a tanking team who always played small ball. Now, this is a team that's apparently actively trying to win, but I just don't see it.
I'll be honest. I told you they were going to be bad. they're what I thought they were going to be. How good can you be if you have nothing on the perimeter talent wise? We talk a lot about shot creation, but they knew they had nothing. That's why they took Cooper Flagg and said we're going to play Cooper Flagg at point. The problem with that is he's not a point guard, and he's not a good enough facilitator to be a primary facilitator. Cooper Flagg is better as a finisher or a secondary facilitator. The Mavs were going to be bad offensively. That doesn't shock me. I agree with everybody that said they were going to be elite defensive. They're still good defensively, but they're horrible offensively. Who is going to create offense off the dribble on that roster consistently? It's not Flagg. It ain't D'Lo. Those are like your two next picks to do that. So I'm not shocked. I think I am shocked that so many people are surprised that they're not that good. What they have going for them is they have a lot of size, but the size is negated by the fact that on the perimeter, they've got nothing going on.
You know what, though? I see the comment saying they should trade for Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole would be a massive upgrade on this team. And you know what? If I were them, I wouldn't trade any future assets right now because it's looking that bleak. But they could find a way to get someone like Jordan Poole on the cheap. Yeah, I would actually do that because they just need more creation bad. Because I don't think Kyrie's coming back this year. Look, if they keep it up at this rate, Kyrie's ready to come back. I'll be like, you know what, Kyrie, don't even worry about it. Just keep resting, man.
Right.
We don't.
And remember, we want Kyrie to come back 100% anyway. And I want him to look like, what we know Kyrie Irving to be. I don't want him to rush his recovery. The thing the Mavs do have going for them, Brett, is because you just listed it off, you've got Gafford, Lively, AD. Washington is a big small forward. He's like 6'8", 6'9". They have assets if they want to move something and try to set up for the future. Again, the problem with what's happened with the Mavs is this all comes back to who? Your general manager, Nico, right? Because Nico said, we're going to make a run. We're going to be a title contender within the next 2 years. Now, he couldn't predict that Kyrie was going to go down, but he did. And he couldn't predict that AD was suddenly starting to show his age, but he has. He couldn't predict that Cooper Flagg was going to have some rookie woes like a normal rookie. So he has. And I'm not saying Cooper Flagg's not going to be really, really good. I just told people to pump the brakes and stop using words like transcendent when you've never seen him play one game in the NBA. I think he's going to be a really good player. There's no doubt in my mind that Cooper Flagg's going to be really good. But I'm going to pump the brakes and saying he's going to be a franchise player. There's no way you could know that.
Yeah, I still think that I still think it's definitely very possible that he ends up being that. It was just an unfair expectation for him to be like, all right, here you go, save our offense, Cooper. Let me put it this way: the one art headline that I saw that I knew the Mavs were in trouble in, when their report came out, they're like, oh, they're thinking about using PJ Washington as a primary ball handler. I'm like, oh, good Lord.
Yeah.
Literally, I saw that, and I'm like, that just sounds like 6 turnovers a game. And sure enough, they tried it, and now they have to move D'Lo into the starting lineup because they're like, oh, wait a minute, maybe PJ Washington shouldn't be a primary ball handler.
Yeah, and look, I'm not saying Cooper Flagg won't be good. Like we talk about ceilings and floors, I think Cooper Flagg's floor is he would be a perennial all-star. I think that's his floor. Obviously, the ceiling would be he would be a transcendent franchise kind of like player. But I think the worst case scenario is you're talking about a perennial all-star. So he's not going to be a bust by any means. And this is year one, and we're not even a third of the way through year one. He can pick it up. But I just think that they set him up for failure by wanting to make him a primary ball handler. That's not what he does. That's not the strength of his game. I think the Mavericks, best case scenario, they move a few pieces that aren't going to be part of their future and try to set themselves up for the future with Cooper Flagg and go out and try to find his running mate. Because the reality is this: even if Kyrie sits out this year, Brett, remember, people forget this. Kyrie's 33. He's 33 years old. At some point, how much longer do you think he's going to play at a high level? And remember, Kyrie has a different skill set from a guy like Steph. A lot of what Kyrie does is predicated off of his quickness and change of direction. Coming off of that kind of injury, I hope he can come back and still have some of that. But if Cooper Flagg's going to be your guy, you got to go out and get him his guy. And Kyrie's not going to be his guy because Kyrie's not really part of their future. He's part of their right now.
Something's been draining all of Klay Thompson's energy because
Klay looks like garbage. He looks bad. Like he's so bad he's not even in the starting lineup no more. His personal life is going great though.
Hey, cue the watch music. You light my fire. Say it. Yeah, no, he just doesn't look like one of two things is happening, and the reality is it's probably both. One, he's just completely checked out, and it probably won't change at all this season. Or B, he just doesn't have the knees under him anymore to be a high-level contributor. I want to say just one of them, but at this point for Klay, it's probably just both of them.
Let me ask you this. If Klay were to be moved to a more talented team, and they're asking less of him, like maybe make him more of a situational player, and the expectations are he can give us 12 points a game, but we need him to shoot a high percentage from three. Do you think he can still be impactful in that kind of role, or do you just think he's cooked, period?
I think he could find a shot. I think he could go somewhere else and be a good to elite shooter again. I don't think he's that cooked. I just think the defense of Klay is cooked. That's something I commented on last year about Klay, that his defense just wasn't good. He struggled to, stay in front of smaller guards, but he would get bullied by bigger forwards. And this year, obviously a year older, it just looks even worse. So I definitely think that Klay has it in him to still contribute somewhere else where they ask less of him. I just think that if you're asking him to play any sort of even medium level defense, that's probably out the window at this point. But I think he can give you a solid 9 to 12 on high level shooting somewhere else.
Okay. I'm only saying that because I do think that he's got a lot of basketball left in him, but I think he needs to go somewhere where they require less of him, if that makes sense.
I say he could go to the Lakers. Playing off a guy like Luka sounds great for him.
Here's the crazy part, and I'm saying this obviously as a Laker fan. Even this version of Klay still shoots better than Austin than Connect does. Like I said, ever since they tried to trade Connect, kid can't shoot no more. And he's struggling with his shot now. I do think that the Lakers, because their core is veterans, yes, Klay would be a good fit, especially coming off the bench in a different role.
Yeah, he is somebody I feel for, though, because obviously he comes to the Mavs. He clearly came to play off of Luka Doncic, and he's excited as can be. And then Nico pulls the blockbuster of trading, Luka, and then it just seems after that, Klay's been just very checked out since that, and especially since the Kyrie injury. So
that's a great point. That's tough for Klay. Nico pulls that move, and Klay's like, can we nullify my deal? Because I don't want to be here. You know what I mean? This is not what I signed up for. And that's another thing. Because they lack shot creation, it's difficult for Klay Thompson to be as effective as he's been in the past. Guys are just guarding him straight up now because nobody can create off the dribble on that team. Look at that team. Your best shot creator right now, it's not Flagg, it's D'Lo, and that can't be good.
Say Nico Harrison is a joke. I completely agree with that.
I agree.
I'd pick up DeRozan. I mean, it's funny. That would actually help the Mavs a ton, but it's with them. They just got to balance it out. I don't think you really need to add any more vets to this team. It's almost like the best course of action would just maybe see if you can offload some of your pieces that aren't part of your future.
I said,
Take this year to almost tank, and because the Mavs do have their first this year, so it might be in their best interest if you can to tank and see if you can get Cooper Flag's future running mate. If you just get lucky and get a higher pick in the draft, you can draft one of the top point guards, and then you have a potential running mate for the next 10 years for Cooper Flag.
I think that's got to be your plan. I think Nico Harrison has to change course right now. The next time Anthony Davis is healthy, and there will be a next time, I know this is crazy because he's the centerpiece of them getting rid of Luka. But the reality is, AD's 32. He's 32, Brett, but he looks like he's 35, and his body is probably closer to 40. I'm trading Anthony Davis. And I'm going to try to get assets to help me help Cooper Flag, because Cooper Flag is your future.
Yeah, it's one of those things that ever since last year he ended the year hurt, and he just hasn't looked the same coming back. And one of the biggest part of the problem with Anthony Davis on offense at this point is he's so content. He wants to play the four so bad, but the reality is his offense at this point is the offense of a five. His jump shot just hasn't been there, and it really wasn't there last year either.
Right.
And it really wasn't all there the year before that. So it's one of those things where at this point he has the offense as a five, but wants to play the four. So now you just have a minimum of two non-spacers. PJ Washington, he can shoot, but he's streaky. So he can shoot sometimes if everything goes right for him.
Right.
So it's just a mess over in Dallas.
Brett, let's do Nico Harrison a favor. You brought this player's name up. Let's trade AD back to the Pelicans. Let's bring back Jordan Poole and Trey Murphy in that trade. I'm just saying.
No, that trade will never make sense, no matter how anybody tries to justify it. It's one of those things. At the end of the day, like I said, I'm all for trading AD if I'm the Dallas Mavericks. They're not going to, because I feel like Nico's going to be too prideful, since that is the centerpiece of the return
100%. 100%.
But honestly, Nico's pride is probably what's going to end up sinking this team and setting the Cooper Flag years back a couple of years.
I agree. I think Nico's pride is going to eventually be what gets Nico fired. You can own up and go, I get why I brought AD, and I know I sold you guys on that. But again, he's gotten older. He's gotten more injury prone. I can move off of him, and I can sell my fan base on I'm moving off of him to set Cooper up for success for the future. If I hold on to Anthony Davis another 2 or 3 years, he'll have no trade value when it's time to move on from him anyway. I think you have to be smarter and anticipate age and injury and factor those in when you're building your franchise, when you're going about the job of roster construction around a young star. I love Kyrie. I'm a Kyrie fan, but he is going to be 33 years old, and a big part of his game is predicated off of his quickness. I don't know what he's going to look like, but I do know that even in the best case scenario, he and Cooper Flag, they won't be teammates for long.
No, fair enough. Mo, I wanted to have a little fun. You mentioned the Memphis Grizzlies earlier. We all know what's going on with Ja Morant. I saw somebody make an interesting argument. They tried to argue that Ja Morant is not a top 10 point guard in the league right now. So, Mo got blessed with a top 3 point guard in the league for AD. Yeah. I remember being so salty about when that trade broke, because I remember that day because Mo and I had just done a live stream for the Royal Rumble, and then we sign off for the night, and then 30 minutes later the Luka trade breaks. I'm like, couldn't that happen 30 minutes sooner? Then we could have had a fun live reaction video.
Right, facts.
So Mo, I thought we'd have a little fun. play a game of Ja Morant or. Let's try to see if we can figure out. Obviously, I'd love for the chat to chime in too. If we can figure out where's Ja Morant in the pecking order of NBA point guards right now. So, like I said, we're just talking right now. So, I think can we agree? We'll knock off the big three of point guards right now. So, Luka, Shea, Steph, we can probably just knock those guys off right away.
We can, even though Steph is in his advanced years. I'm not taking Ja Morant over Steph.
Okay, so, and I think there's even a couple more we can knock off right away. John needs a fresh situation. People disrespecting him heavy. I think that's very, very plausible.
Oh, I do agree about the fresh situation. I think this is a divorce that needs to happen.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's kind of why I think this exercise is fun, because I just want to see where people are putting Ja Morant. What conversations is Ja Morant in right now? So I guess we'll start with Jalen Brunson. Say, would you do Jalen Brunson or Ja Morant?
So are you asking me, or you're asking me as the GM of the Knicks? Would I change anything? You know what I'm saying? Like, I guess if the Knicks had a chance and they said Ja Morant's available and all they want back is Jalen Brunson.
Yeah, which point guard would you rather have right now?
I'm keeping Jalen Brunson. He's a better basketball player.
Fair enough. Oh, great. So, in order to make top 5 convos, would you take Ja Morant or Cade Cunningham?
That's not even close. I'm picking Cade Cunningham. He's a 6'7", 8" guy that can do everything. The only thing he can't do that Ja does well is he can't play above the rim. But Cade Cunningham is clearly a better basketball player.
Okay, yeah, we got Brunson and Cade all day. Hey, fair enough. I did not have him in my top 5 either. I think this is where it gets interesting, though. Top 10 conversations. But that being said, it doesn't get that much easier. Ja Morant or James Harden?
That's interesting.
James Harden was all NBA just last year.
And so this is what I'll say. I'm taking Ja Morant because Ja Morant's 26 and James Harden's 34. But that's why I would take Ja Morant. But if you were asking me just on how they're playing the game of basketball, James Harden gives you 20 and 10 even now, today. And I think Ja at 26 is giving you like 21 and 7 or something like that. So James Harden is playing as good, but I'm taking Ja just based on the fact that he's 8 years younger.
All right, so in the lens of right now, it sounds like the answer is just James Harden, which is, you know what, fair. I would absolutely make that trade too, just because of how young Ja is. But yeah, hey, look, you gotta talk to our guy Kyle Edwards, resident Celtics fan. I don't know what the deal is with JB leaving his hairline on everybody else's jersey. By the way, it's weird. How about Ja Morant or we got some 76ers fans in the house, or Tyrese Maxey?
Oh, I'm taking Maxey. That's not hard. That's not hard. Maxey's actually better at shot creation. He's a better shooter. I'm taking Maxey. Remember this about Ja Morant. We don't question his talent, but I think that when you trade for him or he's part of your organization, you're not just bringing in the talent, you're bringing in the personality and all the other stuff that comes with him, right? That's a part of the package. I don't think he's better than Maxey. And that's not even a guess. He's not better than Maxey.
No, you know what? Fair enough. And honestly, Mo, I think this is about where I'd have Ja Morant right kind of behind Maxey. It feels like, right? Because I guess let's see if anybody can change my mind. Ja Morant or Darius Garland?
I'm taking Ja Morant. Garland's the better shooter, but I think Ja Morant's still a better basketball player. I'm taking Ja Morant.
So yeah, fair enough. Hey, Garland's been great this year, but I would say I still believe in Ja Moran more than I believe in Darius Garland. Ja, yeah. So we got him there. Let's see. I'll throw out a couple more names to see if anybody bites on one of the last couple names I have down here. Ja Morant or LaMelo Ball.
Yikes. So this is an interesting one because not just that LaMelo's younger, you could argue that he's as talented, not the athlete that Ja Morant is. This is a difficult one. Because I feel like if you switch them out, Brett, and you put Ja Morant with Charlotte, would Charlotte be better or would they be the same? They'd probably be about the same. Whereas if you put LaMelo on Memphis, they might be better. I'm going to say Ja Morant because I think that what I haven't seen in LaMelo that you always see in Ja Morant, I think Ja Morant, we always talk about the guys that got that dog in him. He's not lacking that. LaMelo's a lot of things. I see zero dog in him though.
I'd say I just dislike LaMelo's shot diet 90% of the time. And he frustrates me so much this year because one game I'll see him getting to the rim and creating for his teammates. I'm like, yes, keep doing that, LaMelo. And the next he's back to shooting his one-legged threes. And I'm like,
Ooh.
LaMelo, stop it, please. I don't know what we're doing here. So
I feel like when he plays, Brett, he's out there like he's playing a game of horse. You know what I mean? Like, let me just try this shot or that. Like, I get it. I think it's cool that he enjoys and has fun playing the game of basketball. My point guard can't take 22 shots a game. You're not a point guard if you take 22 shots a game.
Saying if you're taking 22 shots a game, they better be like smart shots and good shots.
That too.
They have the offensive weapons. He doesn't need to take that many shots a game. He can spread that ball around. Say between Bridges, Miller, Con Knuppel, can shoot over the top of a lot of players, and it's been very good for them. Plus, it wasn't a fan. Ja Morant or his six-pack of Coors Light. LaMelo was on a good team. He'd be scary. He just needs to find somebody that'll like fix his shot diet. And
I think he would be. No, go ahead, Brett. Go ahead.
No, I'd say I just got to get with a team that's going to be a little more strict with him and rein him in. If he can find a team that can get him to take smarter shots, all of a sudden, like the efficient version of LaMelo Ball is probably all of a sudden sitting at the back end of, top 5, top 6 conversations.
Right. So that's where I'm at. I'm not disagreeing with his talent, but he has to be willing to be coached. You know what I'm saying? He's got to be willing to go, I'm good if I take 17 shots a game and my assists go up and I'm more of a facilitator. If he's willing to be coached, then I agree with the statement. But if he's not willing to be coached, if he's content, and a lot of guys are, by the way, if he's content with being the best player in a bad team where you're going to put up numbers every year, but your team is getting the break speed off of him, I don't want him on my team.
Oh, fair enough. And why not? We'll end it with a little bit. By the way, I kept all the injured guys off, so obviously not going to ask about Hallie or Dame. And I didn't even mention De'Aaron Fox because obviously De'Aaron Fox hasn't even played yet.
Let me throw in a name right now that's been talked about a lot. And he's not necessarily a point guard. He's more like a combo guard. But we're just talking about player for player. Right now, today, we're not starting fresh, but right now, today, Ja Morant or Austin Reeves?
Really, you know what's tough about this one? Austin Reeves might have one of the best whistles in the league. He is so good at baiting fouls. That's the only reason. That's the biggest reason that makes it tough. Because, like, I want to say Ja Morant. Probably still going to go with Ja. But I got to give Reeves credit because obviously he's just a very good shooter. And I don't know if it's that LA whistle, but man, he gets such a good whistle.
And here's the thing. By no means am I saying Austin Reeves is better. What I am saying is right now, today, because of how he has been played, because a lot of us didn't realize that Austin Reeves had that kind of bag. Like you just said it, Brett. He can draw fouls as well as Luka can. Like he baits people into going for his pump fakes or head fakes. He's really good at it, and he gets a really good whistle. And I think that has to be part of any kind of comparison to other players. Ja is an elite athlete, probably one of the 3 best athletes in all the NBA, but he only gets to the foul line. He only shoots about 4 or 5 free throws a game. You would think that he'd be shooting like 10 or 11, but he settles a lot for jump shots that he didn't have to take. I'm a big Ja Morant fan. I am. I know it doesn't sound like it because we had this Ja Morant or I'm simply saying he needs a fresh start. Memphis needs a fresh start. I would argue, by the way, that if you're going to trade Ja Morant, you shouldn't stop there. You should also trade Jaren Jackson too.
The last guy I had was Ja Morant, or obviously had Trae Young, which I'd probably go with. I love Trae Young's offensive game. But I do kind of like the rim pressure that Ja Morant can create when he's fully engaged. So
that is a good. That's actually. I think that might be the best one you've put out there this whole time. Because here's the thing, we can talk about the pressure that Ja puts on the rim, but Trae Young gets to the foul line almost double the amount of times Ja Morant does. Right? So, like Ja's strength, Trae Young's better at. He's better at. I would take Trae Young, and I'm not a huge Trae Young fan, but in terms of what he does, I would take Trae Young over Ja Morant.
It's funny because those two would probably be my 7 and 8. I'd probably still I still believe in Ja enough that I'd probably go Ja and then Trae Young, but it's tough. I think that's about kind of where we kind of just have him in the conversations of he's right there with like James Harden and Trae Young, which are still some great conversations to be in.
And let's not forget, guys, he's not a finished product. The guy's 26 years old. And I know Memphis is his home, but I really do believe he just needs a fresh start.
Yeah, I can't wait to see where. For a minute, I almost said that he should go to Miami. I thought that would be a great fit for him, but I came to the realization that they literally are playing right now the same scheme and system that made him so annoyed last year. So I don't know if the scheme and system works out there, but they'd almost have to change it up for him.
I also would say Miami. Everybody says Miami, but let's think about this for a minute. Are over or under that Ja Morant and Pat Riley get along? Never mind Spoelstra. I know Spoelstra's a coach. Spoelstra will find a way to make it work, but in Miami, the HNIC is Pat Riley. And if Pat Riley doesn't like you or ain't feeling you or think you got way too much attitude, it ain't going to work.
This is a fun one. Mo, who would you rather have, Brunson or Cade?
Brunson's an incredible shot maker, but if I'm a GM, even going off what they're doing right now today, I'm taking Cade.
Yeah, it's funny.
And I love Brunson, by the way. I do.
You know what? I honestly like Cade a little better than Brunson too. I like what he brings on both ends of the court. I love Brunson's offensive package. I love his offensive game, and he's really clutch. But I really like, whereas I would say Cade's a bit more unpolished on the offensive end than Brunson. I think he kind of gives it back to you on defense. So I kind of like Cade better as a two-way prospect, and he's got a great size and frame that you just can't teach. So
right, that's the thing. You can't the 6'8" thing. That's a real thing. And I'll say this a step further. When they get Cade Cunningham the right sidekick where he can get off the ball a little bit and he can come off screens, it's going to take his game to a whole nother level.
Say, what's up, main event? By the way, we definitely appreciate all the comments and all the activity.
The chat is live this morning, by the way. Appreciate you, chat.
Trading for Ja would be like trading for Dre. Who would want that headache?
I
say
would.
I think a lot of teams still would take a chance on John Moran. At the end of the day, this is a kid who just a couple years ago was almost in talks for, kind of where Anthony Edwards is now. The talk
Yeah.
for the next face of the league. He was
Right.
that good, that exciting. Like it wasn't that far removed, and I think the talent's still there.
Brett,
I
let me
still
ask
think
you something real quick. You're a Bucks fan. Would you take John Moran?
yes. I would take a chance on I think I would still take a chance on John Moran. So the Bucks, it's unique though. I don't think it's a for sure yet. It depends what we're giving up. And the only reason I say that is we already kind of have Giannis who likes to work inside. John Morant doesn't have a very consistent jump shot. So the fit is kind of awkward. If we could get him for cheap, I would absolutely take that chance, but it's not a for sure thing. Not because I'm not a big John Morant fan. It's more so because I'm unsure about the fit with Giannis.
No, I 100% agree. And I just threw that out there just saying, would you still take him in the sense that you still believe in his talent? Look, if I'm a GM, I'm not putting John Morant and Giannis together because it is a bad fit. If you're going to get the most out of Giannis, the perimeter player that you pair him with has got to be able to be a shot maker.
Say no, absolutely. John needs a new scenery. Memphis as a whole has just regrets. It their new coach is trying something very interesting. So he's trying to play like everybody in shorter stints. So instead of playing everybody for like maybe like John Jaron, for example, for a 7-8 minute stint, which is what you'll see most teams do with their star players. He's trying to play him for like a 5 and 6 minute stretch, and the idea is obviously we want to keep everybody fresh, rejuvenated at all times. But I think the big problem with that is it's not really allowing these guys to get into a rhythm. And when people are starting to just get into a rhythm, he still wants to stick to his rotation so badly that he just still yanks them. So I think that's kind of part of the problem where I think Liazzo, I'm sorry if I pronounced the Grizzlies' new coach name a little wrong there. I apologize, but I think he's just got to get better at like understanding if somebody's, cooking, you just got to give them a longer leash. You can't just, always stick to the rotation. It just doesn't work like that.
Agreed. Agreed. And look, like I said, it sounds like the morning show and they're bashing John. It's not bashing John Morant. It's understanding that it looks like the relationship in Memphis is fractured. That team doesn't even look like they're showing up every night. And I thought the beginning of the end started last year when you decided to move on from Desmond Bain because you actually had your own organic big three. But when you decided to move on for Bain for KCP, I thought that was the beginning of the end. I don't know what to do with Jaren Jackson. I know he's a talent. I know he's impactful defensively, but I don't know what he is. I know he's supposed to be a 4, but your 4 has to get you more than 5 rebounds a game. That's inexcusable. And it can't be, well, he takes a lot of jump shots. That's on offense. Where you're going to get the majority of your rebounds is defense, is where you end possessions. How is he not a better defensive rebounder? I'm sorry. A lot of people are talking about John Morant, but if I'm going to kill somebody who's been vastly overrated, it's Jaren Jackson. I would have already traded him.
It's one of those things with the whole John Morant situation is everybody kind of pours it all on Ja. And to be fair, I was critical of Ja because I watched that game against the Lakers a couple nights ago. He clearly was just disinterested, and he didn't try. He quit on the Grizzlies a couple nights ago. I said that a couple days ago, and I stand by that. That being said, Ja Morant is not the only one to blame here, though. This isn't just a Ja Morant problem. This is just also a Memphis Grizzlies problem. And I think it's definitely time to just split. I still believe in Ja, but it's just clear that the future of Ja Morant is not Memphis, and the future of Memphis is not Ja Morant. So I think he's just gotta wait, maybe see if you can get an uptick in play from him, And as soon as you get a trade that is the absolute best value that you can get, it's probably just in your best interest to move him sooner rather than later, because we all know what happens when you try to keep a disgruntled guy for too long in your locker room.
Right. Agreed.
Memphis might lose the whole franchise. Ship him to Vancouver. Let's bring back the Vancouver Grizzlies.
Wow. Old school. The Vancouver Grizzlies. I like it. I like it.
Say, shout out to Vancouver legend, Big Country, Brian
Big
Reeves.
Country. Yes. Yes. My guy.
Say, yeah, it's one of those things that I heard that they're talking about moving some teams as part of, relocating and expansion and
All right. Get Seattle that team. Bring back them Sonics. Do it. Let's go, Adam Silver.
I feel like it just has to happen. Abdul Sharif, yep, Vancouver legend.
There you go, Sharif Abdul Rahim. Yo, that's what I'm talking about. Let's go.
Say first game back. They're gonna bring back the Vancouver Grizzlies, and I feel like even all these years later, if they bring Steve Francis back in that building, they're gonna boo the crap out of him. Never forget, he just completely spurned that whole franchise because he didn't want to play there and forced a trade to Houston. They might still be salty about that.
Oh, I think they are. Yeah.
I mean, I would be.
Yeah.
The way that he went around and did it, and then it kind of helped lead to the demise of the franchise shortly after, because Steve Francis, the franchise there, was supposed to be one of the guys that turn it around and spark interest back in Vancouver, and he just goes, "Nah, I'm good. I'm out."
It's funny that you brought up Steve Francis on a day where we talked about John Morant, because their skill sets are so similar.
Stromile Swift.
All right, now you're overdoing it. That guy wasn't any good. Stromile Swift was one of those guys that could jump out the gym, but that's literally all he could do is jump out the gym. He wasn't any good.
So I'll be interested to see. I definitely think you got to move a team at least up to Seattle, and I would love to see a team in like I said, I think Vancouver would be fun. I'm sure if I know the NBA though, get ready for a new NBA team in like Vegas or somewhere boring.
Yeah, because the NBA, they always follow the money. And there's going to be tons of money poured into Vegas. So yeah, I think Vegas is going to get a team. I'm not against Vegas, but I would prefer it if a great sports market like Seattle could get back their Sonics. That would be great.
No, absolutely. But that's all I had for us today, Mo. Anything you want to add before we get up on out of here?
No, this time went really fast. I want to thank everybody in the chat. You guys were so responsive, so live. You guys were saying some wild stuff, and I love it. I appreciate you. Kyle's always wild, so yeah.
Sure, Miles Swift walk so Jackson Hayes could run is fantastic.
That's facts. That's facts. Yes, yeah. But no, guys, the chat was so live. Look, you guys kept us going today on a Friday morning. So thank you guys. Thank you, chat. Just make sure you check out all the great content we have at Wire to Wire Network. Make sure you check out Passion and Precision. Just a great show with Kyle and Jory. Thank you guys so much for joining us this morning.
And I'll answer this real quick before we get out of here. It's full of crap. I mean, that Nick Khan, they're raising prices. It's not because of the international shows. It's because they want to make more money. Let's keep it a buck. They're not raising prices because they've been doing international shows for years now, and they never had to raise their prices. So they're full of crap. Him saying that would be like if John Morant came out and pledged his allegiance for the next 10 years, be like, "Oh, I want to retire a Memphis Grizzly." We'd be like, "Yeah, okay, Ja." And I'm looking at that the same way I look at this with Nick Khan saying that, like, "Yeah, okay, Nick. Like, we just be honest, be upfront. You raise the ticket prices because you want to make more money. I'd rather you just come out and say that than this."
That's the key, right? Myles Garrett was leaving Cleveland. He hated Cleveland. I'm getting out of this hellhole, and they gave more money, and he loves Cleveland. So,
Right? So, say thank you everybody for tuning in. You can catch Mo and I next Monday. We'll a little bit of a schedule mix around because I have to work next Thursday, so we'll be doing the And One podcast on Monday, and we'll be talking straight up an hour and a half or so of hoops. And then you can catch us talking wrestling on Friday. We'll mix it in with the morning show. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we hope you enjoy. By the way, rest in peace to this young man, and enjoy the rest of your weekend, and understand that your mental health matters. If you need it, go get help.
Yeah.
Say not any less of a man to do so. So that's the note I want to end on. Just enjoy the rest of your weekend, and your mental health matters. So enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you, guys.